Hi everybody, welcome back to Bookkeepers Bootcamp. I'm here with Joe Wood and we're joined by Hannah Dawson from Futrli, and we're going to be talking about building your confidence to add additional services to your bookkeeping practice. Hannah, how are you? Thanks so much for joining us.
My absolute pleasure. I'm here in the grey jungle. Yeah.
It's so stylish, your house. I remember when we were talking last time and you had some like really nice plants behind you, and I was like, oh yes, so stylish.
I basically stole them all from our office because, you know, I just took them all in. And my kids think I'm a loon, but there we are.
Absolutely. And I fell in love as well with the fact that you had the same bar stools as me, which are really uncomfortable, but you just put cushions on top. And I was like, we need to do that. We need to do that. It's just such a good idea. No, not yet. But to be honest, it's being used as an office. So there's like a printer on one of the stalls, and we're having an office built, and so we're waiting for that, and then we can have our kitchen back. Our garage is going to be our office because we've now got me, my husband, and my son all working from home in the business. So we need an office. So looking forward to getting that done. Wow, welcome everybody. Hello to everyone. They're all #living. They're getting used to doing this. We are running a competition to have the most engaged member, and they get to go into a draw to win. Zoe, you remind me, I'm rubbish.
We're going to announce the winner on Sunday. The person who attends the most sessions, whether you're live or on replay. And remember, these are all available to watch on replay until the 31st of March here in our Figure Bookkeepers Club on Facebook. I know some of you are watching on YouTube as well. But the person who engages with the most sessions will win. We might have to do a draw because I think there might be more than one person who attends everything. You'll win a one-to-one strategy session with Joe and me. So we'll announce that on Sunday. So keep coming along to the sessions and letting us know you're here. Also, it would be really cool if you could let us know if you've got any questions for Hannah, if you've been thinking about adding additional services. Like, we are all told all the time to add advisory services. Like, what does that mean? And, you know, if you've got questions about that and how you can do that in your business, I'm sure Hannah would be more than happy to answer them. So post away.
Good.
Please. So shall we, Hannah, give us, I love hearing your story, and we have had so many new members in the last little while. So can you give us a bit of a background about you and about Futrli and where you are at the moment?
Yeah, I'm not a horticulturalist, you know, even though I do have lots of plants in my house. My potted story was that I was in hospitality, managed restaurants in Glasgow, bought a pub in Devon, as you do, when I was 26, and then nearly lost it within the first 6 months because I didn't forecast VAT properly. And kind of had that first meeting with an accountant who sold me a copy of Sage 50 desktop back in the day. I'm quite old. I didn't see him for a year, and I was kind of left to my own devices. So that really spurred me on to learn. It was dial-up back then, if you can all remember the noise of dial-up when you used to connect. I went to the library and I learned about management accounting. I learned about double entry. I just learned because I had a 1-year-old in tow at the time, and she's now nearly 19. Oh my God. It was really, really terrifying. Needless to say, that business worked really well, and we, quadrupled turnover. And when we sold it, took a little bit of a step back and did some AAT qualifications because I was going to go into hospitality, consultancy effectively. But through that process, then found zero. So there's about 15,000 subscribers in the UK at the time, and I was one of them. And it was just this, oh my God, this has just changed my life. Live bank feeds and bank record, this is amazing. I got information right here. I can properly do real time and not, one summer, my suppliers had put prices up and it hadn't fed through from the head chef. And, all the profit margin was gone during the summer holidays because you're working at a 6-week time lag. It was just that getting that real, information is so, so key. But I am obsessive about forecasting. And it's one of my biggest, actually, I was going to say bugbear, but it's not. It's more heartbreak, actually. The majority of small business owners are running their business without one. How can you, genuinely, how can you do it? How can, there are things that are happening within your business with the data you're creating every single day that, if extrapolated out, all of these things are tied together. And, I guess the biggest problem is it's bloody difficult to do it, manually. So very, very extreme response to go and create a software company that then does that. But yeah, I'm a complete loon and decided that that's what we were going to do. So launched Crunchboards in 2014. So we used to be called Crunchboards. Live dashboarding. It was Xero's first all-in-one forecasting and reporting solution. Over in Australia we launched because, again, I am a nutter. And then really realized quite quickly that it was always built for small businesses, but then realized we were bootstrapped at the time, that actually accountants were talking about this word advisory and they thought it was quite good for that. Over in Australia, bookies are massive over there. It's a proper, they've really given a lot more respect sometimes than I think they're given in the UK, which is an error in my opinion. And so, yeah, we started, selling to accountants basically so that they could use it with their small businesses. There's the husband who's just coming in, even though he's not supposed to. So, but quite quickly then realized, well, not quickly, it was about 3 years in, really saw that this word advisory, and it's something that, I'm quite happy to talk about more. I do get on my soapbox about it, is something that was only being offered to the bigger small businesses, those who maybe had 50 employees and above, who needed an outsourced CFO service or something along those lines. But the definition of it was never firm, but they were only offering it to typically about 10% of their portfolio. Now that could be between 0% and 40%, but it's the research that we've done, it's about 10%. So all the others, all that 90%, the majority of small businesses are going without any other help apart from the compliance piece, which no wonder, 50% are failing by year 5. It's not because they're all rubbish ideas. It's because the basics that you guys deal with every day, this piece of the puzzle, this leveling up of financial knowledge is totally missing. And referencing, I will stop talking in a second, I promise, but referencing my daughter who, passed her driving test last year, I was just struck with, the amount of theory she had to learn, the practical she had to do, of course, to learn to drive a car. But we don't need to do any of that when we set up a business. There's not a gold standard. There's not a benchmark. There's not a basic level of, just this is how when you do this, it's going to affect that, and that. Oh God, I didn't realize that. It's those sorts of things. And so where, I see you guys as bookkeepers having this huge business potential is because you are in contact with them more frequently, typically your clients, because you're providing a regular service, and you have a generally, and again, I know I'm generalizing and you can correct me at any point, but you've usually got a really good relationship with them. You're talking to them more, so you understand their business processes more than potentially an accountant might, who are doing the compliance services for them, which is going nowhere. I mean, we're always going to need, the compliance assistance. But if 90% are going without any conversation or outlook into what does it look like ahead? You don't drive a car like this. Why are we doing that with businesses? Why are we always just looking at historicals? Yes, it's a starting point and it always has to start from there, but there is so much more to a business. And just like a maps app, we always used to use ordnance survey maps. Remember the arguments that our parents used to have in summer holidays? No, Chris, we're going in this direction. Yeah, all right. But now it's an absolute standard that we're using a maps app of some point on our phone, in our car. And what does it do? Updates with micro information, live information as you're driving. We'll update your route for you. We'll give you your estimated arrival time. That's what small businesses need. But you guys have such a brilliant, contact with your clients, that the impact that you can make really simply, and that's what I want to talk about. This word advisory is leave traditional advisory to the accountants. That is not your job. Where I see your job coming in is a much lighter touch, but frequent, and it will be much more impactful. And it has been proven. So yesterday there was Xero's 2020 Canada report that repeatable, revenue from repeatable recurring services is way more than compliance and traditional advisory. Why? Because it's more valuable. So I've got like a 5-stepper that I've got some slides that I can talk to, but it just needs to be use KISS principles, keep it simple, stupid, and the impact that you can have on your bottom line as well as your clients will be vast. That's
so cool, and you're so right. And I had this conversation actually recently with a business coach to accountants, and she was struggling to get their fees up, their annual fees up. And then when I told her what my annual fees were, because I don't think of them as annual fees, I think of them as monthly fees, she like nearly fell off her chair, and she was like, wow, that's so much more than we get. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not dealing with my client once a year. I'm dealing with them multiple times in a month. Yeah. So, and I like that lighter touch that you said.
Exactly.
That lighter touch. Yeah.
You're giving repeated value, Joe. And I think that this massive disconnect has happened forever with the accounting industry and small business, despite the fact that they're 99% of all businesses are small businesses. They are the bulk of 60% of our private sector employment is from small business. That this I'm a small business and I want to know I'm okay. I want to know if I'm making the right decisions. I would quite like someone to talk to about this, but it's really lonely. And my accountant doesn't offer anything like that because what they do is my tax advice and compliance work. Oh, but we do have a traditional advisory. Okay, great. Well, what's that then? Well, here's a load of dashboards and some PDF reports. Okay, what do you want me to do with that? Oh, well, I don't like traditional advice. Well, my clients aren't interested in advisory. And it's just like, no, stop. You wouldn't teach, calculus to a 4-year-old. It's just understand your audience and understand that, again, the industry's done a really great job of making small business operators terrified to ask questions because they feel stupid. Really amazing job of that.
And do you feel that that's come from historically it was very much, and we speak about this a lot, about how like now it's collaboration over competition, but in the past it was very much about competition between other accountants, and you would never collaborate with your local accountant down the road. You'd keep all your information to yourself, but it was also a bit like keeping it a bit like elusive so that you could charge more. Like if we tell you too much, then you understand what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I had one of our customers who I'm happy to say is not a customer any longer because, we have to think about our clients too, right? And we have a white labeling service with one of our products advisor, and they've done that, but you can change your URL. And he wanted to make it so long, this URL, so that it didn't have any reference to Futrli at all, and it would be like off the screen. And everything needed to be locked down. The clients weren't allowed to change anything, edit anything, look at their numbers in a different way. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? This is their business. What you're supposed to do is help them be better. With your knowledge, your value is not in the data preparation. Now, a lot of your value is actually in the insurance that this is clean data and we're getting this right. So now we can make really good decisions off the back of it. So the education process that you have the opportunity to give because you're bookkeepers and not accountants is huge. So that leveling up piece about making, having a really safe environment where no question's a stupid question, where anything can be asked, but equally that you're leading them through some conversations. Like, okay, do you mind if I share my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Share screen.
I was just going to say, we do have we have quite a few accountants in the group, and when we say about the fact about like not being an accountant or whatever, you can still be and do everything that we're talking about and be an accountant. You're talking about traditional ones that maybe
yeah, exactly. I'm talking about that traditional. We've all seen it. the traditional advisory department, which, you know, has this preconceived notion about what this needs to be. Meanwhile, 90% of all clients within the firm is, you know, are going without help because there's not been a fresh way of thinking. COVID has forced us into different working modes. Everybody knows how to Zoom these days. And, you know, the opportunity is so ripe. I don't have time to go and spend an hour at lunch with my accountant. But what I can do, or a bookkeeper, what I can do is a quick 15-minute Zoom, 20-minute Zoom, half an hour if we need to go through these, you know, this rinse and repeat cycle of, okay, where are we now? Where do you want to be? So, you know, as a 5-stepper, this is what I would do. Genuinely, where are your clients now? Where are they now? And we've got, you know, there are ways, we've got, you know, I'm not here plugging my solutions, but we do have full portfolio analysis solutions where you can actually scan, you know, we'll prepare that information for you. But when you're sitting down with them, you know, I'm assuming the top one, I put that there just as a bit of a joke, but I'm generally speaking, I'm pretty sure that the books will be good, you know, and the data accurate. But where's the revenue? You know, that is the best source of funding. And we know that cash flow is the biggest reason for failure. You know, and if they can self-fund, happy days. What's their gross profit by product or service? What's their net profit? What's their average days to pay? But these levers here, getting them to understand that they're all related to each other. Because then the cash in the bank, of course, is the next big thing. So next thing you want to do, well, where could they or should they get to? You know, your relationship as bookkeepers is amazing, usually, with your clients. So if you can get them to understand those 5 pieces of the puzzle, and the cash, of course, is here in this slide and not the last one. But if you changed, you know, sales by 5%, 20% increase, you know, what does that look like? But one of the things I think I remembered we had an American advisor who's brilliant, Jeannie, and she said that revenue growth was one thing that she would always illustrate with her clients, because, you know, if your collection days are terrible, and you're, you know, buying a load of stock that you're then selling, and, you know, you're going to run out of cash. And they're like, well, hold on a second. Well, that makes no sense, does it? But it's that leveling up, really simple stuff that you guys know so well inside and out. Your clients might not have made those mental jumps. Third slide, where are we at? What's the gap? Okay, so that's where they are. None of this is rocket science. It's, you know, if you had 10 minutes and this was your business, what would you do first? And that, for me, is the core question that, you know, as a finance professional, if you ask yourself that, right, I've got this information, I know the books are good, we've plugged it into the point 4, which is the planning software, because this can't just be from Xero or QuickBooks. It can't just be from the historicals. It has to look at the future projections of the business. This is where you come in. If this was mine, what would I do first? And then all of the peripheral nonsense, or the things that you can do in 10 months' time when everybody's leveled up their knowledge, disappears, because the most critical things will present themselves. And that might be they've got terrible credit control, or it might be that they need to refinance their debt, or it might be that they, you know, need a time to pay. You know, they've got HMRC outstanding, and actually, if they don't realize that, they can phone up and do a time to pay, or, you know, they might need a restructure, or they might need to hire more staff because something's going really well. And actually, did you know that you're growing at this rate? You know, so there's no point in saying, look, I want 100% revenue growth. But, you know, well, you can't, we're not sure whether we can do that or not. So it's that leveling up and that explanation. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I think the really critical thing, and I think it can feel quite overwhelming, the idea that we've said this before, we're not giving advice, we're giving information, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail in a minute. But one of the things she said was, if this was my business, what would I do next? Exactly. And it is stepping into the shoes of that business owner and looking at it like that. That's all this comes down to. If we do keep it simple, that's what it is.
So simple and so valuable to them, you know. So next thing, what are you going to do? Okay, so that was your first meeting, but actually what we're not interested in the first meeting as much. We're interested in the rinse and repeat. This is where you're going to generate revenue, as Joe and Zoe are doing. But creating a plan. Now, we've got plug and play prediction for the financials, right? So you don't need to be a whiz on any of the forecasting side of things because prediction software now exists, which is great. But it also needs an action plan. It's all very well having the, so here's the numbers, you've created all of the books are bang on. This is what it looks like if the live conditions continue, this is what your business looks like in the future. What can we do to improve that? But who's going to do what when? What's the, how are you going to get there? That's the plan. It's got to be a dual focus. It's not just about figures. It's about, right, what can you do first? What can we do this month that will make an impact on that one thing that we have identified will make a big difference to my bottom line? And whether I can send my kids to private school or whether I can go to the Maldives on holiday, because we're all doing this for something, right? Aren't we? We're not in business for the sake of our health, usually. And then kind of the fifth thing, I don't know why it's flashing like that, but this is the final bit. This is all advisory. I wish, and we are going to burn that word, but this is all it needs to be. They're just check-ins. They're monthly or bi-monthly, however, whatever your cycle needs to be. This will impact your client base so much. And for some of them, you'll identify, you know what, we need to go a bit deeper and we need to do some more analysis and we need to look at some specific KPIs for them. But for the majority of them, your monthly check-in agenda to rinse and repeat will be, what were you supposed to do last month that we agreed in the meeting? What was the plan? What haven't you done and why? What's keeping you up at night now? What's changed, environmentally? Where are we tracking off? And do we need to change the plan or do we need to change what we're doing? That's your agenda every single time. It's so simple. But if every bookkeeper and accountant did that with every single one of their business clients, the failure to success rate will change. It will change. It's bonkers.
So true. We've had something here just before you go on to about, it's really difficult, Charlotte says, when your client just wants to get on with their work and leave everything financial to you, and they seem to not want to engage in things will help, and she finds it really frustrating. How do you suggest we have those conversations?
So again, keep it, do you know what? I would use the line again. If this was my business, you can choose to ignore me. But if this was my business, I would do this, followed by that, followed by that. This, the first thing, will mean that you will have X amount, and using the software that you've got that can do all of this lifting for you, illustrate it and go, if we change that, this will be the net impact on your business. You will have 10 grand more cash in the bank, or whatever, whatever the thing is that you think is really, really impacting them. If you can do that, and it all comes down to cash, doesn't it? Always, it's everything else is a vanity metric, actually. I've made 20% EBITDA profit this, okay, great. I'm retiring 10 years earlier because I've got that cash in the bank. There we go. That's what they care about. So bring it back to the reality of life. Listen, what's happening with the kids at the moment? Okay, and are you, what are you doing with what? How are you happy? What's your plan for your happiness this year? Okay, what if we could upgrade you in your flying business because we've done these things? Just bring it back to human, and as if it was your best mate. You're talking to them on the sofa with a glass of wine. Have a glass of wine with them. A lot, the drunken bookkeepers. It's another podcast, but we can do that later. But
that is so me. I need to have that podcast.
We'll do that. We'll do a spin-off, crikey. But it's people are overwhelmed with data. There's information for information's sake. So make it relevant, impactful. If we do this one thing, that will be the impact. Right, okay. Then you've proven that you know what you're talking about. So they're going to be much more interested in going, okay, right, what's the next thing then? What should we do now? Okay, this is a problem, or this is amazing. Can we amplify this? If we double down on marketing spend based upon that, this is what the impact is going to be in 6 months' time. Amazing. But guess what? It's all pinned around a forecast. It's always, It has to be, because otherwise you can't visualize anything. And then by doing that, you will start to teach them that they should be making decisions within the realms of their financial future, because they're the safest ones, you know?
Yeah, I think if you start, like you said, if you start with that one thing that's going to really make a difference, then you build the trust as well. And then you can build on that, because you've made an impact, and they're like, okay, they know what they're doing. I know what to do next.
Exactly.
One of the questions we got quite early on, let's just talk about this advisory information challenge that.
Oh, Zoe.
Oh, we've lost Zoe. I'll go back to the question. She'll join us back, I'm sure, in a second. The question was providing. Oh, sorry, that was an answer to that question. But I think someone was saying that they were. I'm an AAT student, and I thought we weren't allowed to advise on anything. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, as this always throws me.
So, okay, there's advice and there's advice. Now, you're not giving tax advice. If you're not giving legal advice, what you're doing is you're using your knowledge to help someone else. So they don't need to take your advice, but what you're saying is you're interpreting information into something that's actionable.
Mm-hmm.
The point. And so, you know, I'm not saying go and give EIS advice. I'm not saying do anything like that. You know, I'm talking about business operations, and you're living and breathing their businesses every day or week whenever you're going through those processes. And I'm pretty sure with most of them, you've got these mental notes that you're going, oh, hold on a second. What's happening there? These things are happening all the time when you're working. But at the same time, that then extrapolated out into, you know, the future view of things. Well, like, you know, it can be insane. How many small businesses right now have got C-bills loans and B-bills bounce backs with no plan to pay them back yet? VAT deferment, time to pay. It's not it's sitting there in zero, but it's not, you know, it's not. There is no action to repay it, and what are the consequences of doing so? It's you know, it's a real worry.
Yeah, and these are the kind of things, and this is what, and this is why we need to be our number one client, because we need to think about the things that bother us, the things that keep us awake at night, and things like. And I know that in the past, you know, I've sat there thinking, so when am I going to be VAT registered? What was the limit again? And when will that happen? And with forecasting, you can say, right, if we carry on with the sales where we're at, and I've got this with a client at the moment. I know she's planning to fall pregnant soon, and she was like, I know I'm going to smash through the VAT limit, but when I stop working through pregnancy, she's a physiotherapist. That maternity leave, I know it's going to drop. So she's like, let's plan to just stay under it for now, because and then I will smash it through. She, you know, because of just, you know, the admin and stuff. And we've got a plan. We've got an absolute plan on how we're going to do that. And she's now, you know, that's going to help her actually physically with her life, not having that worry, because she was like, oh my God, I'm too successful. This is not going to work. I need to not be VAT registered before I have a baby. So that is like life-changing help, but it's not tax advice. It's just saying what is out there and interpreting, you know, what gov.uk says. I mean, you know, it's like the budget. When people are like, what does this mean? What does this mean? It's like, and a lot of the time I say, actually, what Rishi said was like, just like the headline. He hasn't given us all the information yet. We know as much as you, but here's the link if you want to read more. But this is everything I know. As soon as I hear more, I'm going to communicate it to you. That's what that you would perceive as advisory. It's just communication.
It's like being a language student and understanding Spanish, right? And I can then, you know, and I'm going to help you order your dinner because I'm in Barcelona, you know, and it's a stupid analogy, but it's just that. I think there are so many walls have been put up because of this bloody word advisory that, oh, it's supposed to be this thing. It's not. It's like the elephant's new clothes. Everyone's talking about it and nobody knows what it's supposed to be. So why don't we just claim it for something that will actually be impactful, increase success rates versus failure rates, and make you guys more money? Because it will, because actually it's something that will be valued. And all of this value-based pricing nonsense that's talked about as well. I mean, I can tell me anything that's put on social now, I'm going to get tanked for everything that I'm saying. I don't care. That, you know, it's a load of rubbish. Like, value-based pricing. As a business owner, if you tell me that you're going to give me that amount more cash or surety or confidence or control because we're doing X, Y, Z on a rinse and repeat, at the same time you're building up my knowledge and power, because knowledge is power about my business, then I'm going to pay you for that. That's not value-based pricing. I just value you. Here you go, take my money. And equally, with people who can't afford it at the moment, just defer it. Say, listen, right, this is the first thing that we're going to do. This is the one thing that I would do if this was my business. I know you can't really afford this at the moment. However, if we do this thing, I know you will be able to afford it. So I'm going to defer it until the action's happened, and then I'm going to collect it. We're going to set up a direct debit now. It'll be done by here. You know, just thinking outside of the box and like business people, because you are business people.
Oh God, that's amazing. Do you know what? I just did that this week with someone, and I thought to myself, was that the right thing to? It felt right to me. So this lady really wanted to come with me, but she's a salon owner. She's shut. Loads of my business owners are shut.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just haven't got the money, but I really want to start off well in April. She was saying all the right things. She went, I don't want another year like I've had. I need to know when I open on April the 12th. I want to start knowing. I need to learn from my mistakes. So she was saying all the right things. And then I said, look, just, it's fine. We will get started. I want you to be in control. And then she said to me, oh, I'm paying for this thing for HR services, and it runs out at the end of July. And that's more than what you're going to charge me. She got completely done over. And she said, when that stops, I'll definitely have the money. And I said, perfect. There we go. There's the plan. You know in your cash flow at that point, you're going to have the money. We'll just spread out. If you haven't paid me for 3 months, we'll divide that by the remainder of the 9 months of the year. And we come up with a plan together. We came up, and like, she was like, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful. I can't believe you've done that. But it didn't feel like a hardship to me, because
it's not a hard sell either. It's, you know, people don't want stuff for free. They just want things that make an impact, that help them. It's just help. That's all it is. It's simple help that is, you know, little and often. Let's course correct, just like that Maps app. Course correction. Information's changed. The information's changed. Which is why I've never understood budgets. I've never understood the point of a budget. What, you set something at the beginning of the year, it's out of date next month. Everything's changed. What is the point of it? Oh, well, we thought that was going to happen. Great, brilliant. Pack it away, and let's have this live updating forecast to actually help me make the best decisions. You know, it's just mad. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Jo, we did this really interesting session last night where Jo spoke about her sales process, and we did a bit of role play, didn't we? And I was Jo's new prospect, and we just went through the kind of questions Jo would ask on that call to understand the business and find out where I as a client was. And that is where you can identify the challenges that are coming up for people. So it is being able to see that opportunity at that. You can do it right at the beginning of your relationship. You don't have to wait until you've been working with them for 6 months and you understand their business model. If you're having these conversations from day one, you can start to offer this.
And they will suspect. They will, even if they're not finance literate if they're not as confident with their numbers, they'll still have a niggle. They'll know if there are, you know, if customers aren't paying them, or if they've got debts that are looming, or, you know, they're not sure about furlough and, you know, taking on new staff, or what they should charge for something like this. These are the conversations that it's just common sense. You know, how's your business going? What are you worried about? That's looking a bit worrying. Should we sort that thing out? Done. You know, rinse and repeat. Then you're heroes.
I've just been having a look at the comments, and Louise was saying, I've just figured out the best service for one of my existing clients who isn't getting what she needs and paying her accountant for. I can do this and save her money whilst making me more. Win-win. And I think often, you know, we don't have the same overheads as bookkeepers. We shouldn't be cheaper than accountants, but sometimes we can. Well, I mean, we definitely can provide a better service because we're able to be closer to our clients than accountants often are. So if you're able to do that for your client and save them some money and make yourself some more money, then it just absolutely makes sense for everyone, doesn't it? So well done, Louise. I'd love to know what it is you're going to be offering them. That would be really cool to know. Somebody asked earlier on, because I don't know how familiar everyone is with Futrli, and somebody asked us what are the sort of key differences between what they can do with Futrli versus something like Float or Fluidly. I don't know how fair you are with what the differences are, but just to give everyone are you able to give us a little summary of what Futrli does?
Yes.
So if people are interested in finding out more, they could understand what they're looking at, or, you know, where it might fit in.
Yes, hold on. Share screen. Hold on. There we go. It's as if I've prepared these earlier, guys. It's amazing. So we've got, well, as you've probably heard, forecasting is my absolute passion. And, you know, my mission is every small business will have one before a croquet. So we've got 4 products actually, and where we're different, I guess. So if we start bottom right with Advisor. So Advisor was Crunchboards. It was our this is the first product that we launched with Xero. You know, all-in-one dashboarding, KPI reporting, and planning. We still run Futrli on Futrli. All of our board packs, all of our forecasts and scenario modeling are in Advisor, just because we're quite a complex beast, and we're still a small business, but we're a bigger small business, right? So it's perfect for that. And that's the one, which is why we called it Advisor, that is traditionally used for traditional advisory with the 10%. This is where you can do your KPI dashboards and so on. We've then spent about 3 years top left with Futrli Predict, building this out. And this was this realization that the 90% they're not getting help like this, but it's really difficult. Forecasting's hard. You know, creating a full 3-way cash flow is difficult, or creating a cash flow only using kind of invoices and bills is equally hard. Well, Predict combines them both. So in answer to your question about how we stack up against Fluidly and Float, so Float, both of them will give you cash flow only projections, which means you're looking at that gross cash flow movement alone. We do that as well as giving you your forecast P&L and balance sheet. And we have all of the invoices and bills in there as well. So that direct and indirect forecasting methodologies is where I start getting really boring. But that's what we do. So we, you know, years in the marketplace, we've had a load of people using Advisor going, yeah, but you've not got the invoices and bills in here, so we can't be pinpoint accurate for the short term. And then, of course, those who are, you know, we know that those who are using Float, for instance, is just cash flow only. It's like, well, yeah, but you've not got the P&L, so I don't actually know what my sales trends and expense trends are. It's just looking at, you know, gross cash flow movement. And because of me nearly losing my business because of VAT, I'm really passionate that we absolutely calculate VAT accurately as your accounts package would. So we have a full accounting engine in Predict, and we support cash and accruals VAT schemes. So all of that heavy lifting, you don't want to be, you know, you're doing the data preparation, hopefully using things like Receipt Bank or Dext or similar products to make your lives as easy as possible. Yes, you need to make sure that the books are balancing and it's all right. But then if we're doing all of the heavy lifting for you so that you can just really attack the whole, right, invoices and bills are due, what are getting paid, what aren't, that'll again identify issues that you've potentially got. So Predict is there as your business maps app. That's your plug and play one. Advisor, you're going to need to put a little bit more work into it because it's a custom built, you know. If you're a food and drink business, you would want to be putting things like wage percentage and food and drink GPs and stuff like that in there. Predict Plus, I don't know why this is flashing, but Predict Plus takes all of the Predict technology and it basically takes current and future KPI benchmarks, just flashing because it's like Blackpool Illuminations. So basically we plug it all in and these data points come out so that you can see your entire portfolio. It then segments them into kind of high risk, medium risk and opportunity clients so that you can be really strategic with your time. Now, if you've got regular meeting points with your clients already booked in, brilliant. But if you've got, you know, some clients that you're not seeing monthly, for instance, those ones who are lagging, you know, are quarterly meetings, for instance, great way for you to have an overview of exactly where their business health is so that you can be more strategic with them. So when you go back to that, if this was my business, this is what I would do first. You've got all of that for every single one of your clients. And then Flow is our little baby product, which is kind of, we're thinking about just giving it away for free. But it's brilliant for those companies who have, accounts receivable and accounts payable. So retail, hospitality, less so on the AR side. The AP side, brilliant for it, but it'll give you proper analysis over customer behavior, how they're tracking over time, and really visualizes dependency risk analysis, and all of the metrics around, well, what's actually happening within my customer base. So yeah, that's what we do. That's the plan. Yeah.
It's really interesting, and I think it is going to depend on what you need to be giving to your clients. I've used Advisor before, and I've used Flow as well, and it was that Flow actually gave me the opportunity to start the conversation. So being able to talk to clients and say, hey, you can log in and you can see this stuff, and whether they did that or not, I don't know, but I was able to drill down and be with them and just say, these are the people that you need to be chasing. This is a potential problem area for you in terms of accounts receivable, or it was really, it felt like the simple place for me to start those conversations. So I've used Futrli products, and I know Joe has as well, and I think we've both had good experiences with them. So it's very much for our bookkeepers a case of looking for what's going to fit with the needs of your clients when you're making a decision. And lots of these things have a free trial as well, don't they? So
you do, but like if you're not comfortable about creating a forecast, why you would do it manually today, I don't know. I would just plug Predict in, and it's going to do all of that lifting for you for the entire business, not just cash flow, but their sales trends, their operational trends, their days to pay, the whole lot's in there. So yeah.
I just coming back to what Louise said. So she said that she had realised that she could offer the service, and she said that she's going to offer cash flow forecasting. She has her current client has a quarterly meeting at the moment with the accountant, but she mentioned he just reads the P&L to her, and she said we already discussed that, and so she was thinking of leaving him, and I was going to refer her on to another accountant. But after this week, she said, and with the Q&A that we did last night, she went, I'll just do it myself. And she said, she's happy with her. So absolutely, Louise, you can definitely do this. And it really is just, I've found this over the last night. I was explaining to everyone last night that I've changed because what I've been doing over the last few months is that I do use Futrli Advisor with the boards, and we've got the white labeling. And as everyone knows, like I was saying earlier today, Accountancy Manager was just too green. I like everything to look like my branding, and so it's lovely. So we do that. But I've been doing that for a few months with my clients. So now when we approach the boards, they already know what they're looking for. And as well, like most of them, like I say, have been shut. So it's not that exciting. It's like, oh, what have your grants kept you afloat? It's like this. It's been difficult conversations, but they all have. They're all still open, and they're all still planning to open. So I'm really pleased with that, and their behaviours, and that's what's been great. Do you know what's been great about being able to show them about the previous year analysis on the P&L to this year is that loads of them have actually made more profit in this year to date than they did when they were open.
Oh my God.
Mine's blown. I know, isn't it awful? And I'm like, right, so now we need to, and then also what we're talking about, and I've been very open with them and said, right, we're planning for the next lockdown. And they're like, what? And I'm like, we're doing it. We are going to have, I want you to have 6 months of your operating expenses aside. That's what we're planning for. So we've been able to, answering, seeing how much better we can see how their behaviors have changed since they've been working with me, which is amazing. Yeah,
exactly. But it's things like, okay, well, should we bring back all of the staff, or should it be half of the staff, or do we need to change our pricing? All of those things can then start to have really simple but impactful conversations, so they're making the right decision and not exposing themselves.
Yeah. And something that I've decided to do is do the videos of the boards
Okay.
and explain that. Yeah. So, and I've actually got 2/3 of my time back, because I used to have an hour meeting once a month with all my clients, and now they're learning, and now they're taking control, and now they understand. What I'm doing is I'm going to send you a video. Yeah. I'm going to send you a video, and then we're going to catch up for a 20-minute chat. We'll do your forecasting, because if we need to look at your cash flow and things that that's coming up, and also let's set some targets. What's going to happen now that we're going, back to work? And so I'm like so excited for April. I'm going to be like, woo! I will take on more clients, obviously, but it got to a point where I was stopping.
You can understand your capacity. You can work it out. It's like, well, how many clients do I need at what, price point? What happens if you should be doing this with yourself, like to yourselves, like if, what should my price point be? What's my productivity? How much do I value myself? And I don't see that enough either, sadly. So yeah, hopefully that's been helpful.
It's been incredibly helpful. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you for your time. I think it's definitely given us a place to start. So if you've been thinking, I want to add additional services, but I really don't know how to approach this with my clients, hopefully we've learnt some things that we can say to our clients, so we can bring those conversations into the very first call when we first speak to them, and really just get to know them and get to know their businesses on day one. You don't have to wait to add this stuff. You're helping people out with like Joe said. Sorry.
You'll blow a lot of their previous experience out of the water.
Yeah.
By just this fresh, simple approach.
Brilliant. Hannah, how can people find out about Futrli if they want to know more? And
well, I'm quite happy. Girl power. I'm sure there's some male bookkeepers on the call as well, but as far as I'm concerned,
there are a few. There are some.
Girl power. So listen, I'm really genuinely happy for anyone who's watching to email me directly. Joe knows that I love a chat. So it's hannah@futrli.com. It's not difficult, but otherwise futrli.com, products are there. But we've got, things like mentor, we've got roundtables, we try and help as much as possible. And if there's anything that you want us to do to help you guys out, just let us know.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, thanks for your time. Thanks so much for your time. We're going to be back with our next session for Bookkeepers Bootcamp at 1:00, and we're talking to Jojo Graham about being more visible online. So I hope you'll go and have some lunch quickly and come back and join us at 1:00. Thanks so much, Hannah, for your time. Really look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.